Hello.
Aha!
Hi.
Hello, camera Mendy.
I can hear the birds chirping.
Yes, their damn birds are just popped themselves out here and started making noise. Yes, and it is 6 a.m. here in the Hawaiian Islands, but we are calling them the Blue Shines for our wonderful excursion. Yes, and I'm sitting on the back deck. This is the view from the back deck.
Oh my goodness. What a view. And the
See the
sun. Oh,
little
there's
rainbow?
a rainbow.
Yes, camera Mendy.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yes, yes, yes. So I think
Wow.
I have mentioned that we are here for our 40th betrothal. Yes, Ms. Goo and I, that is.
Mm-hmm.
And I got up this morning at a ridiculous hour of the morning, 4:30 a.m., to try to make sure I was ready for you, Camera Mendy, and I forgot to comb my hair.
It's totally fine. I think everyone is okay with it. So
Well, I did actually get a post up just before we started, so I don't know how many people know that we are even going today, but it's out there.
okay. Yeah. Well, if you were on about 5 minutes ago, Donnie popped on. So Donnie and Andrea are supposed to be on today, but he had a last minute crane delivery that got scheduled, and so he wasn't able to make it. But he popped on from the roof where he was waiting for his delivery. So we have another fun thing today. We're going to do a community discussion about epic story moments. But before we do that, we should announce the winner of our contest.
So we need to did we do the runners ups?
No, because I forgot the list at.
Then we just have to put it off one more week.
No. We made a big deal about announcing it. So we have got to just announce the winner. And then next week, what we will do is I will have my list, because I am also not in Colorado currently. I am in beautiful California. We're about to go to the beach right after this. So I don't have a beach view behind me. I do have like a nice green thing though. So anyway, so I did forget the list of all the rest of everything in. Right now, I'm currently trying to search and find the definition of the winning one. So it's wonderful.
It means corrupt.
You got it? Okay. You don't need me to look it up, because I'm scrolling. It's
What do you mean scrolling?
Yeah, you talk and I'll scroll, and then I can pull up the.
Right. Yeah. So Camera Mendy is looking up all of this stuff. Anyway, so we went through the temple submissions, and there were a lot of really good ones, and some of them were creepy, and some of them were funny, and some of them were absolutely goofy, and we could never use them, though I really wanted to. But the one that we liked was actually it's sort of a semi made up word. And Camera Mendy will read it here in a second. And although I really want to do the runners up. You sure we can't wait till next week? It'll be okay.
Yeah, literally, the email was titled "Winner Announced."
So you think there are only people here just because they want to hear the thing, and the damn birds are flying all over the place. I want to get pooped on my head. I don't want to get poop on my head. Nobody wants poop on their head. Did you ever see that movie with Mel Brooks? It was called High Anxiety.
No.
Do you even know? Camera Mendy.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well,
what's wrong, Camera Mendy? You can't find it?
No, I found it, but like my phone, like it looks like this, like the definition.
No, just look. Can't you just search? Just search the word in Google. No, I know what the name is.
I'm trying to get the definition that he wrote
up.
Search.
The thing is, you don't need his definition, because it's actually the word. The word is defined. It is a word.
We'll just wing this. Okay. So the
winner. He did do a great job of writing it up.
Cassius says it's been delayed enough. Tell us. Okay.
All right, Cassius. All right. Goodness gracious.
Okay. The winner is actually Donnie Arnold won with the name The Tomb of Inquinatius Evil. Inquinatius is a made-up word based off the word inclination.
Inclination, yes.
Yes, which is I wish I had the definition of.
It means corrupted, debased is what it means. So
Mhm.
anyone in the chat can certainly look up inquination right now, and you'll see what it is. So inquinatious means corrupted and debased, and so he took inquination mean corrupted and debased. So he took that and changed it a little bit and made it a marvelous word. So it is the one we have chosen. I have no idea how people are going to respond because half the damn people in the world are not going to have a clue what it even means. But we're going to go with it.
Inquinatious evil, the tomb of inquinatious, or temple. Sorry, the temple of inquinatious evil. I
Yes.
think it is very catchy. Very catchy.
Oh yeah, it works. It's got the right. You know about the tempameter. You know about the tempameter thing, Camera Medi, how you want things to flow when you're putting words together, and works with alliteration and other things like that, right? So
Mhm.
inquinatious evil has almost an alliteration, right? But it's a inquinatious, right? So it is a 4-syllable word that is followed by by a double syllable. So inquinatious evil, inquinatious evil. See, so it has that boom, 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 right?
Well, like
And so
or what was it? Existential evil, or
existential,
yeah,
same thing.
existential.
And that
Inquinatious.
had full alliteration, right? That
Yeah.
had right now. In the end, though, you typically need to know what it means, right? So,
Mhm.
so I don't know. I don't know if this damn thing's ever going to sell, but we'll give it a shot.
I think it will, and I think it works. Like the definition works really great with the Thule, which are like on the cover.
Oh
So
yes, absolutely. That was
yeah.
what put it over the top. What put it over the top was taking the word inquination, turning it into inquinatious, and then of course inquination meaning corrupted, debased, right, which fit very very well with the overarching theme, right, of the
Yeah.
adventure. So
Oh,
that's why we decided. Goodness gracious, my hair really is a mess,
So
cameraman.
is
It's
mine. So is
sticking out on
mine.
the side. If Miss Goo was looking out the window right now, she'd be giving me a hard time. But
Are you
she's
going to go to the
sleeping.
beach today, or what are you guys doing
No,
today?
well, as soon as she gets up, we're going to take a little walk. We're going to walk along the beach and walk down the same way we did when we honeymooned here. So we're going to we're going to do the same thing that we did. And then we might go hiking today. We talked about doing that. And so we might get out and get a little hike in. And then we have a romantic dinner tonight, and I think it's just going to be a relaxing, comfy day. So I'm very much looking forward to it, very much so.
Very
All right,
cool.
so the Temple of Inquinatious Evil is what it is, yes,
Yes.
and we will continue on from there. But we are going to give 5 runner-ups, I think, right? We're going to give 5 runner-ups their own special cover, right? Is that what we're going to do? We're going to make 5 runner-ups their special cover. I think we're going to do that.
We'll do that. So, and
So if you were
do that next week.
So if you were one of the 5 runner-ups, we're going to make a cover for you with your title on it, even though it won't be the final cover. But actually, that might make it more valuable than anything because you'll have the only copy of that in the world.
Value. All right.
It's Camera Medi, as I've said many times, it is worth absolutely nothing, but you never know.
Exactly.
So, oh yeah, you went to this.
I did. I wanted to talk about it before we did.
You need to talk about it.
Okay.
Is the waves too loud in the background, or is it okay?
No, it's actually quite peaceful, I would say.
All right.
So,
all right, perfect.
So
you should be playing. You should be playing the soundtrack right now when you're going to talk about this.
That's how you get copyrighted claimed on.
I would argue that we are a media company. We are doing media. We are reporting on things.
They don't care about that in the YouTube stream. Okay, so this was we talked about this last week. By the way, for anyone who was watching last week, I could have gotten Alphinius tickets because those 2 tickets got released, but Alphinius and Miss Goo decided not to go, which was their mistake because this was amazing.
Ms. Goo put the nix on it because she says, we're about to spend all this money. Alphinius, actually, she did not call me Alphinius. She went, Kim, yes. We are about to spend all this money. We do not need to spend another $1,000 to go see The Lord of the Rings.
Okay, so here's what I had a totally different idea of what this was. I thought this was just going to be music of Lord of the Rings because this was a Christmas gift that someone got us. So I didn't really look at the description or anything like that. What this ended up being was the entire movie with the symphony, a full choir. So if you look over to the left there, all the people in black, that's like a full choir. Imagine watching this thing live with live music And during the scene where the Nazgul are up on the witch, the witch, when the Witch King is like walking towards Frodo, and you
Oh
have
yes.
live vocalist like singing the like intense stuff. They had like a little kid come in and sing the really high pitched, "Ooh," I'm not going to do it because I can't, and they had like an Enya like woman there also doing vocals. And so like this was like incredible. They were so good. At times I was like, how is this not just like the soundtrack of the movie? Like, I mean, it was so incredible.
Well,
So
wasn't it? What weren't they doing? Basically, the soundtrack.
it was all of the soundtrack, but I mean, they were so good and so in sync. It was phenomenal. It was a
Got
phenomenal.
it.
Like it didn't feel like, even though it was live and like you had all the vocals and you had even though it was live, it felt like, I don't know, I can't describe it. It was just amazing. So I'm just saying, if anyone ever has stuff like this happen with their symphonies, like their local symphonies, because I know that they do this kind of stuff in California all the time, like at the Rose Bowl, I think, they like play the movie and then have like live music and stuff like that. If you ever get a chance to go to one of these things, like, oh, it was so good. I didn't even know this was a thing. I didn't even
So
know this
you
was.
basically watched the Fellowship of the Ring, but
Yes,
all the music was performed. So
live.
Frodo was talking, right?
Yes,
Gandalf was talking, all of that
yes,
stuff,
all
and
the
then but all the music was done by the choral or by the symphony.
yes. I mean, it was so
Wow.
good. It was so good. Sorry, I
Has anybody
can't.
in the chat ever gone to one of these?
Let's
I
see
want to know
here.
because Camera Mandy gets enthusiastic about stuff that I'm not always so enthusiastic about.
I don't know that anyone has.
No.
So I'm
So
looking
if you
through,
go,
but Harry says sounds awesome. It was. I mean, it
it
was
does sound awesome.
extraordinary. It was extraordinarily good. So I like the entire time I was just like, Han says that he has been a while, but yes. And so anyway, I'm just saying the Colorado Symphony did a great job. I'm really excited because Lindsay Sterling's coming to Colorado, and she's playing with the Colorado Symphony in like a month or two, and we got tickets for that. And
And
yeah,
Lindsay Sterling is Camera Mandy's favorite
yeah,
person artist of all time.
yes, yes, I love that violin. I mean, oh my goodness. So Han says it is a grand experience, and I totally agree with that description. So Scary Guy 156, that's I believe Sheehan says I have. So and Grey Wolf says went to something similar a few years ago. So anyway, all that to say, if you ever get an opportunity, I know that they've done like Star Wars in the past, and like, I don't know, I think it's great. So I love that movie
So
studio
like,
allowing this kind of stuff to.
when they're doing the theme of the ring, right? There was a kid singing that kind of thing.
All the high pitch, like all the, because like it's like when like the Eagles come in and like Gandalf like jumps off onto the Eagles back.
Yes.
That they had a kid come in live, and like he did all those like really high pitched vocals
Wow.
like live. I mean, and like I said, there was like a woman who could like sing like Enya, and she did all of the like kind of elvish,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, it was a stunning performance. I know I'm talking about it a lot, and it's like probably
I
boring.
got. I think. I don't. I think people are interested. I don't know if you're not interested. Just put it up in the chat so that so Camera Mandy can put up that like a bunch of people in a row saying not interested, boring,
Okay.
terrible, don't
Sounds
like it, hate Lord of the Rings, hate the
Sounds
symphony.
good.
Now you have a chance, chat, to really do your worst. Here, look, I'm gonna bring you back up again, Camera Mandy. Look at that. Oh,
I'm just learning something.
that is something right there. Yes.
Yes, it is absolutely gorgeous. I just learned something about this program just now. They made an update, and it's a very good update. Okay, so check this out. So Paul won a Hero Forge contest.
Yes.
So and it was Hero Forge, correct me if I'm wrong, that's where you can like design your own minis.
You do. That's correct.
Okay.
And it has a whole system that allows you to choose weapons, clothing, armor, the whole deal, right? Even facial hair. You literally can design the face of your character. It's pretty cool.
Okay. So Paul did that, and this was his design. So it was like a two-faced, I think the design was for like a two-faced character. So isn't that cool? So
Yeah, very cool.
yeah. Anyway, Paul, great work. Congratulations. Well deserved. so happy for you. So, and I love
Very cool.
the contest. I like the white versus the red. A lot, very cool stuff. So, all right, ready for social media?
Really good. Yes, no, I'm just admiring it. This is the first I saw it, so been a little busy these last couple of days getting ready to go. So, but wow, that's really go back, Mandy, one more time.
Hold on.
Yeah, really, wow, that's spectacular.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, let's continue.
Did you read this post?
I did. I read the whole thing.
Me too.
So yeah, it's fascinating, and yes, Harry, I agree with you. Something for Bleak Bottom Bog, but just these historical things. So if you didn't get a chance to to look at this is I think it was 1800s. Cameraman, was it the 1800s?
I think so. Yeah,
I think it was 1800s. So shepherds would walk on stilts so they could keep an eye on their sheep, right? And they would do this. And as time went on, they planted trees and things began to change. And then shepherds abandoned their stilts. But this was not just about the changing of the stilts. It was the changing of the world around them, which was really magnificent. What happened, cameraman? We lost the stilts.
I know. Oh shoot. Sorry, I'm learning things about
StreamYard.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you didn't get a chance to read this, Harry put this up. It is definitely worth taking a moment. And again, this is the creativity, right? This is the idea that of the den, right? Is bringing out this wonderful creativity. Now, interestingly, if you look at them, they've got two stilts, and then they've got a booty stilt. You see the booty stilt, cameraman?
I'm not currently looking. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, okay. So if you look, the man and
someone has a booty stilt.
The man and the woman, yeah. I think it's man and woman right there in the front. They have the regular stilts at their feet, but they have a booty stilt. So I think that's to sit on, to make you comfortable. So you aren't just having to balance the whole time. So you put the booty stilt out and you got to sit down. I think that, does anybody know if there's such thing as a booty stilt?
I mean, there clearly is. I think they call it the booty stilt. I think that's...
I'm cracking myself up right now, cameraman.
So speaking of booty.
Oh, speaking of booties.
Sorry, this looked to me like a heart, and then I read, I think, Randy Price's comment that said, "Are you sure this isn't just Jessica Rabbit laying down?" Something like that.
Now listen, I want to tell everyone, we are beginning our trip with this little trip to the Blue Shine Archipelago, but we began in San Francisco. All right. And San Francisco is a small town in the south of Anvala. And we were there, right? And while we were in San Francisco, we happened to note that in a small museum area, there was a replica of a piece of this famed wizard Vaasina, right? So Vaasina apparently has some sway in this area. Now, something happened to Vaasina sometime in the past where literally he was cut into pieces, right? And he was an archmage lich, totally powerful, and all his pieces ended up all over the place. Well, here in this museum, they had stop it, Ken. So here they had a homage, an homage to Vaasina. And one of his pieces was put forth in a sculpture. So, yes, it is the buttocks, the booty of Vecna. That's a fine question, Cassius. I thought about the same thing. How do you put those on? Because you're supposed to cut off your hand and put the hand of Vecna on your hand, and then you get the Vecna hand, right? And we had all kinds of things. You had the ear of Vecna and the nose of Vecna. There's pieces of Vecna everywhere. So the booty of Vecna is a new thing.
This belongs in.
I'm definitely cracking myself up this morning.
This belongs in the temple of Inquinacious Evil.
Inquinacious Evil, yes, the booty of Vecna. Vaasina, a mighty booty indeed. I agree, it is mighty. Oh, all right, I see that, Jen. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm cracking myself up. It's because I'm punchy. I got up at 4:30 in the morning.
Okay, next up.
Oh yeah, spectacular,
I like the
spectacular.
gold. So this is Gerald Gax
Yes.
as like a golden mini.
So they're this is PLA printed, so it's not quite as detailed as some of the other printers, I think is how it works. If someone in
Uh-huh.
the chat knows a little more
I
than
don't
I
know.
do.
Like there's a lot of detail in this. Like there's
Yeah,
like
but
even like
somehow
ridges
he
on
ended
his.
up with a little bit of a mushy face, and I'm not sure why that happened. But he's got his
Yeah.
skull cap and all of that stuff. But yeah, he ended up. But that's definitely. I mean, Gerald Geisengax, man.
Yeah.
I still to this day, I still am astounded, Cameramendi, when I think of. Oh, apologize. I went kind of close up there. I hope nobody got disturbed by my nose. But you know,
You're very small on the screen right now. You're good.
that's true. So when I went to Luke and I said, Luke, you know, I really want to do this, and I want your dad to be, you know, a special part in Zyathé and blah blah blah. And we started talking through the tale and talking through the various things, and you know, the wizard missing and all of this stuff. And the next thing you know, we had a wonderful story, which of course we're going to talk about epic story lines today in the chat. Sorry, in the stream, and then creating epic moments, right? So,
Mhm.
you know, I'm excited to do that. But this is fantastic.
It is
If
good.
Michael's watching, thank you for putting that up.
Okay, so this is from Rick, and he is currently converting the PDFs of the Mornwood into Roll20 for just
Yes.
not officially, just for his own games. And
Yeah,
he said
yeah.
that he was very
Rick
excited.
made my day. Yeah, he made
Yeah.
my day when he sent this Cameramendi. I was looking at it, and I really wanted to call him and say, "What do you, Darkenhaven? Goodness gracious! You know, it's because it's so big. You know."
Mm-hmm.
I I'm so impressed with Darkenhaven. And for those of you waiting still patiently for Gloomport, please bear with us. We're getting there. But it's as big as Darkenhaven was. There's so much review, so much proofreading, and of course we're trying to get Guys and Gax out at the same time. So, but do not fear, it'll be coming out and it will blow your mind just as much as all of you who received Darkenhaven. It's gonna be the greatest thing. You put those two boxes together, Cameramendi. I don't think there's a greater city ever made for
You
fantasy
basically would
TTRPGs.
never have to buy anything from Gooey Cube again because you'll literally just have
If you
years and
just
years
wanted to
and
stay
years
in the
of
city, yes. But the problem is we got to
okay.
leave the
Oh,
city
okay.
now
You
and
have
then,
to leave the
Cameramendi.
city. I see. I see.
Yes.
Okay. So, okay.
Sometimes you got to leave the city.
Naturally. Okay. So this this is
Yes.
from Terry. Raccoons are saddle breaking feral hogs and riding them into battle against possums. The media probably won't cover this. So it's
Yeah,
a
it
raccoon
totally cracked me
on
up.
top of a yes. Oh my gosh. Um,
And I said, of course, this is where the snails learned it.
uh-huh. Oh
Yes,
my
it's pretty
goodness.
funny. I mean,
Yes.
it's really. I was trying to scratch my head, and I was trying to say, is this photoshopped? There's
No, I don't
something
think so.
well, there's something going on, Cameramendi. See this thing that's hanging there? So
It's some
this
kind of
almost,
rod.
yeah, it looks like they're trying to attract them somehow. Attract
Hmm.
animals. That's what I'm gonna. But it is kind of funny that the hog has this raccoon on its back. I don't really.
Chat
Or
says snails are definitely involved. The snails taught the raccoons, says Goo.
yes, I agree.
Bad news
Snails
for
taught
the
the raccoons.
possums, says Cat.
This made me laugh. I chuckled
Yeah.
out loud when I saw this. Right, I
Were
said,
these
"That's
the
a good
original
fedora."
hatters?
Yeah,
Because
the
of gaps
original. There.
in the fossil record, we could only guess at trends in prehistoric haberdashery.
Yes, and of course, haberdashery is hat making, right?
Well, I think it's
So
more than just hat making. I think hat making
I
is
guess it's all clothes, right? It's
it could be
clothing.
yeah. So also,
Yeah.
I just got a text from Adam, and apparently Lawrence is not feeling well, so send him good vibes.
Oh no,
So
what do you mean? He's like sick, or just?
yeah, sore throat. Yeah. So
Oh no. I wanted him to have a little time.
he'll get to relax and rest. I feel like sometimes your body is just like you're on vacation. Now you can rest and get sick and I don't know.
Will you take some pictures for next week's Goo Morning Zyathé for us?
Yeah, of
All
course I
right,
will.
beautiful.
So anyway, but I mean today's just a relaxed beach day. Tomorrow's Disney, so it's got to balance
Yes.
that. So okay, so this is from Joe Adams, who is doing the dice design. He's a good friend of ours, and
Yes, we love Joe.
he's put up a Google form for people to submit interesting ideas for the show and kind of the direction that, some fun things that he would like to he'd like to get audience feedback, if you will. And he also posted a preview of what he's working on for like his next episode. So anyway, so yeah, go check it out.
He is working very, very hard on the Dice Decide, and the production values are spectacular.
Yes.
I mean, it's been really, really good work.
Mm-hmm.
It's just unfortunate because there's so many people out there that are streaming games now. It's just hard to get traction. It's just And so he's got some pretty good followers, a lot better than most. But man, just to try to push that thing over the top to get it to a place where it can actually make you a little money, or at least break even on the cost, is hard to get there. Very, very hard. But they if you haven't seen it, it's worth a watch for sure.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Go to YouTube and look up the Dice Decide. Very good stuff. So next up is the Necromancer.
Yes. So since we're going to be talking about epic storytelling, this is, I'll spend a little time with this, cameraman. So in the beginning of the creation of the village of Blun, and the village of Ethholm, of course, everything began with the concept that we were going to have legends, right? We had to start with the tale, right? So we started with the tale, and the tale was the missing wizard. If you boiled it all the way down to one thing, right? It's Gyzengax is missing, right? Gyzengax is missing. So that's sort of the beginning of the tale. So now that begins to spawn as you begin to tell stories, right? Once you've sort of decided on an end, and sometimes, by the way, I don't end a story at the beginning. Right, it kind of grows in the telling, right, as it goes. But I have a pretty good idea about where it's going to go, because it's pretty hard to do a story if you don't know where it's ending. So Gyzengax is missing. So now you have to ask the question: why is Gyzengax missing? What has happened to Gyzengax, right? And then how does that relate to why Gyzengax was there in the first place? Why is Gyzengax, this wonderful, super powerful wizard, living out here in the boondocks, right, of the queendom, right? All of that stuff. Well, we really wanted to have a town that felt very not good, a place that, and we didn't want it to be too big. And we wanted some really good, creepy NPCs that would live in that town and would be sort of running that town. And those NPCs could then not just fight the characters, but ultimately interact with them. Because we're going to suggest, not in this tale, because this tale doesn't really involve very much of Blun or Ethholm. There's this little supplement that is included with Gyzengax, but that's not really. But in chapter 2 of the Gyzengax tales, when we kickstart that, we are going to take the players into Blun. Yeah, we're going to take the characters into Blun, and our Cassius, listen, we're going to do contributions, by the way. This is coming. So I got to talk about that later, but let me stay on track.
Sorry.
So no problem. I love seeing them. So what if the game master takes our recommendation, what we're going to do is to recommend that the PCs have the opportunity. Now, they don't have to do this, obviously, they can choose their own path, but have the opportunity to fake who they are, to literally impersonate an evil adventuring company that is being hired by certain personages in the village of Blun as part of their infiltration, which means it's going to be a very, very different game than most play, because you're literally going to have to pose as the bad guys. There's going to be tests that you're going to have to figure out, how do you get around them. Yeah, no one can accuse him of overeating. Yes. So anyway, so Necphilius.
Sorry, I'll stop cracking you up with the witty comments from the.
Necphilius is one of the bad guy leaders of the village of Blun. Okay, and the village of Blun is more like a town. It's a little bigger than your common village, and he has a host of things that are going on. He is overseeing the zombies that are mining the netherstone in the mine where they found netherstone. He is very much in cahoots with Avarice Gaul, who is the second in command underneath Baron Garphonius Grumflum. and your players will get a chance to go into this Grumflum, Garphonius Grumflum.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So, so all of these came from a tale that I told many years ago that my players just loved, and they literally did go into the village as a covert operation. So you couldn't fight your way. There was no fighting. It was diplomacy and sneaking around and going into places and trying not to get caught. And boy, they almost got caught a couple times. It was tense. And then your players want to be the evil infantry party. Yes, why not? Come, kill, destroy. Yes, all of that stuff. Anyway, so you get to go in there and do this. And I think for the players, it's going to be fantastic. And of course, that is the precursor to the temple of Inquinacious Evil, is going to the Village of Blood. So Alphinius, yes, Alphinius. There is no Alphinius at this point. We just talk about Alphinius.
Okay.
Anyway, cool. Marvelous artwork by Edvard. Necphilius himself is done by Benjo. The lab, which is Necphilius's lab, is really his residence in his lab, is right there in the graveyard, and just a wonderful moody picture.
Awesome. Very cool. So already posted this.
Go. You go.
All it is a dungeon cleaning service with the Gooey Cube. And
yes, I said it was a Goomba, right?
See,
I think someone said
cute.
that.
A Goomba. I think Goomba. That's cute.
I think that's been said in the past somewhere along the line, but they're a Goomba.
I have a number of shirts. So Michelle got this one for Gen Con, just a girl who loves snails. And I do think it's funny how snails have infiltrated just Gooey Cube in general. It's now part of like our DNA.
Wait, just go back to the suitcase for a second.
I really want. That's the she won the auction, I guess, and that's the payment for Lawrence. I'm assuming it's coming to me as the sister. So, and I'll.
It's coming to you.
I'm assuming so. It's my family. So I don't know. Anyway, brother for sale is.
Brother for sale.
Anyway.
Yeah, Pam put this up. This is spectacular.
Yeah, so Pam has a artificer named Dulcinea that she plays on Misfits, and she posted this little machination that she named Squeaks. Yeah, anyway, it's just cute. So yeah.
Again, the creativity of people, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead, you could do this one. This is pretty funny.
Okay. DM, you find a book written in an unfamiliar language. Artificer, ooh, I want to use comprehend language on it. DM, absolutely. And give me an intelligence roll. Artificer. I'm saying artificer or artificer.
It's good. Artificer is fine because that's what it is in Zyathé.
Yes, exactly. 7, but I thought I didn't need to roll for that. DM, you don't. That was to see if you were dumb enough to read it out loud. Fighter, dude, what did you just read? And then it's the picture of the mummy.
Yes.
Where she reads the book out loud and awakes the mummy.
Yes, one of the classics of all time.
Yeah, it really is such a classic.
It's great. It's good.
What level do you think the mummy is? You think that's like?
Oh, he's pretty tough. I mean, he's definitely tougher than your average mummy. See what the chat says. I want to know what the chat thinks.
He's like got to be like a level. I have to think he's like a level 14.
I was gonna say CR 12, something like that. What does the chat think?
Yeah. So in the mummy, and then
because he's got all kinds of things he can do, cameraman. He can shape change. He's got all kinds of stuff that is a little beyond the average mummy.
Like he can affect the element.
Okay. Yeah. So CR. So the current mummy is a CR 6, 5, 7. I think the current mummy. Somebody who's got quick access. Let us know.
Yeah. Randy says he's a lich.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think he's much more of. I mean, when you think about the sandstorm that was coming in and the summoning of all those little bugs, those little scarab beetles.
13. Purdy Nerdy says 10.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Okay, what about? Okay, here's the question: Brandon Fraser's character, fighter or barbarian? Because I do feel like he can rage. Like he does rage. I feel like at the very end there, maybe is there such a thing as a fight? Do people ever play fighter barbarian multi-class? I've
No,
never thought
I
about
don't
that
think that
before.
exists because technically a barbarian is a subclass of fighter, I believe. But there's better people in that in the chat than I am. But I would say absolutely absolutely a fighter. I think a fighter.
Okay.
I don't think you have the barbarian raginess.
Maybe
Right.
he just leveled up at the end. Okay. Harry says the mummy is a CR3.
CR3. Okay, there we go.
But the mummy lord is a CR15.
So he's kind of a mummy lord. I didn't
Sheehan
know about a
says
mummy lord.
Sheehan thinks that he's a bard fighter, multi-class. Randy says a fighter.
He's definitely got some bardic qualities.
Yeah.
But it's not singing, right? This is more humor, right? He's
more
a joke
charismatic,
teller.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, well, good little sidebar on the mummy there. You know what we should do? Okay, we should do a segment every week where we pick some movie and spend like 5 minutes breaking down what we think the characters in that movie are. Maybe we'll do a segment every once in a while.
We should do it with Chucky.
Because we get the best responses from the chat. Like everyone's like Paladin. Oh, Paladin would be interesting. Is he? I don't know that he's really like holy. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think that he.
He's not a holy boy.
Yeah. Oh, Blade2 says fighter rogue.
Oh yeah, could be. I agree with that because he is a little
Cassius
sneaky.
agrees. Barb fighter multi-class. Action surge and rage is awesome.
Yes, that's true.
So.
Ooh, Cameron Mendy.
I think we should do this. Tell audience, do you like the idea of doing like once a week we could add in a segment where we like announce a movie that we're gonna spend like 5 minutes talking about? Because I mean the audience, I love the audience's reaction. Everyone's giving a lot of like good stuff, like Fighter Ranger. Paladins no longer have to be holy, just dedicated to their oath. But I don't know that he would take an oath because he was very selfish in the beginning of the movie. I mean.
He did sort of turn. He turned to a. He became more of an honorable, less of a rogue, and more of an honorable individual, right? Because it was all about the money. Then it became a little more important, right? And he met the girl, right? It was all about the girl. Then, oh, hello, baby.
In the
Pardon?
Yeah, in the movie and then in the sequel. Okay.
Oh, the sequel. It was way about the girl.
Cassius says, "I sense 5 minutes might be hard to stick to." But other people like so.
See, Cassius is wise.
The idea is great. Look what it says. As long as you do the Goonies, so maybe we'll do it like every other week, so that way we could have like a decent discussion on that. So and then we can all watch the movie. We can announce, okay, next week's movie is going to be this, so we can all watch the movie.
That's a good idea. Actually, that's not a bad idea.
More than we've already spent more time than that already. It's a gooey 5 minutes though. That makes sense. Okay. I'm gonna look into this idea. I really like it, and I love.
And Harry's talking about restarting Creative Goo.
I know. I'm so excited.
We have to have a chat with him after I get back. We have to talk about that.
No, I'm so excited. Because I think people would love that. Again. Okay. Cool. Okay, we'll move on from the mummy, but I think we're gonna do this movie idea.
The Mummy Lord, Cameron Mendy. The Mummy Lord. Let's get it right.
Okay. Oh, my best friend Dory also sent me this hat.
Yes.
And I would love to have a lamp like this. My house is full of quirky things like this. I love this. It's like it's a lamp that's in the shape of a stained glass hat, and it's just gorgeous. So thanks.
You know who else would like this is your Miss Goo.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I think
this is her style.
Taste came from going to your house as a little girl, because your house is filled with like all these little eclectic wonders and the kind of the Victorian aesthetic and stuff like that.
Yes.
So
she loves it.
Yeah. So
well, she was raised around it, because in Berkeley, which is where her grandmother had an antique store, she was raised there. And there were a number of other antique dealers nearby, and They all had, the Victorian thing going on, along with others, right? Not just Victorian, but the Victorian thing going on, and of course all the ornateness that went into like when you look, yes, the hat is beautiful, right, and it's wonderful, but even just looking at the lampstand itself at the base with all of the interesting and intricate patterns that are in there and all that stuff, that is definitely a Ms. Goo thing right there, right? The
Yes.
you can just all that flavor, right, versus more IKEA like, and again, not to throw shade on anyone's personal taste, but IKEA like where it's much more stark, right? It's
Well, I
much
think
more.
most people go to IKEA because it's cheap. I don't know
It
that
is.
anyone
It is
necessarily going
cheap.
to IKEA for the style of stuff. I mean, it is modern. Now, with that said, if you ever look at like home renovation, like YouTubes or channels or stuff like that, there's this amazing hack that people do to build libraries in their home, which is they go and they buy IKEA bookshelves, put them up against the wall, like in a row, and then they fill out like all the gaps and stuff like that using, like they do, I don't know what they're called, the pieces of the slats of wood and stuff like that. They add like trim all around it and they cover up so you get a whole wall of shelves for your books, and it's cheap. It's just using IKEA bookshelves. It looks beautiful.
Yes, and then you put you buy some trim, put it around the front. Yeah, I could see that being quite beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay.
Anyway, spectacular, Josh.
I have one more thing, and then we can get to our discussion, which is our community member of the week is Jens this week. So, Jens is probably one of the original Goos, I would say, because he's your dear friend.
Jens, and so we met Jens relatively early on when we moved to Colorado, and he became one of the first of our group in Colorado, along, of course, with your dad.
Sorry, I have to pause you. Thank you so much, Pam, because this was going to drive me crazy. It's called molding, is what you do to
yes, molding.
So, and I will just read Joe's comment because I find it funny. I go to IKEA for the adventure, navigating the maze, finding food. Totally agree. Totally ripe for adventure. I wasn't trying to throw shade on IKEA. I love IKEA too, and I like their meatballs. So, sorry. But back to Jens. Let's talk about Jens. So yeah, you met Jens early on.
Yes, and we started playing together, and then he's obviously game mastered for us at conventions. He has written things for us. Just been a wonderful supporter, and a dear friend. And that is, I mean, I tell you, Cameron, I've said this before. I've met so many wonderful people, so many wonderful people because of this Gooey journey. Right? It is magnificent and wonderful. And all of you who are watching, most of you, I would imagine, we are well acquainted, and some we are not, but we will be.
Casey's in the comments. Casey was at the table that picture was taken at, and Casey says that he did an amazing job. He is an amazing game master. He game masters for you. Yes. And yeah, he's
it's been really fun because Corey started playing with us when he was out here. Then he moved to Alabama. Right. Mm-hmm. And both Corey and Jens had said, hey, do you, because I have been forever game master, right? Forever, right? And I'm working so much between the day job and Gooey Cube that trying to prep games was getting a little onerous, or it's getting pretty tough. And I do like to prep games. I've mentioned this before. I don't like to I feel pretty confident in my ability to sort of make things up as we go along, but I do like to prep them. I think they're better when you prep. So anyway, so both of them said, hey, we can run for a while. And I said, that'd be wonderful. And then I'm actually playing more than I have in probably 3 or 4 decades.
I think it's very healthy for someone who is in this industry to get out there and actually play.
Yes.
I think that's awesome.
Yes, well, some of my fun characters, right, are in the world, right? Because Mathur Armageddon, right, of course, it's Strong Armageddons in the Gloomport is one of my earliest characters, and that's the wonder for me of Zyathé is all of these wonderful people are getting to put their stamp on the world, right, and getting to have their characters in the world, and it's just I mean, of course, Camramendi has 3 different portraits now, three Camramendi.
Well, I had to the Hatmancer.
The Hatmancer.
Yeah, because the Hatmancer class, which I'm hoping is coming soon, you use multiple hats, and that's how you get.
Yes, you just swap the hats out. What do you carry, like hat boxes and a hat box of holding on your back, or how do you swap out all these damn?
Carry about that.
I think
So
you gotta have. I think all the hats have to be like in a mini box, and you just pull it out and it expands or something.
Pretty Nerdy
And
says, reading
and
through Ghost Stone and prepping now for Pacificon. I can
uh,
the Ghost Stone is a very fun convention module.
I
So
think the Ghost Stone's a great little tale. And again, it feeds into the Crovenloft saga and all of that stuff. And Crovenloft has made some wonderful strides, and Paul helped us with that one. And yeah, that's what I say. A magical hat box. Hi, JC. um, yeah, three is a magic number. Isn't that a song? That's a song from Sesame Street. I thought it was one.
gosh.
One is a magic number, right? Something like that. Just come on. All you test your brains from ancient days. Anyway,
Okay.
all right, let's go.
We have our discussion. We have 13 minutes, so
That's perfect.
we managed to chit chat a whole heck of a lot. But I'm telling you,
Well,
this movie breakdown idea, I think
I think it'd be fun.
I think that's where
Especially
we're at.
if we do fantasy movies
Yeah.
for the most part, little horror here and there, a little science fiction, but mostly stick with fantasy. And we got plenty to choose from. So I just saw one. This is what I want to know about. Death of a Unicorn.
I have not.
Have you heard about this?
Mm-mm.
Has anyone in the chat heard Death? I think it's called Death of a Unicorn, and it's modern day. And this man is driving with his daughter, and they hit a unicorn, and they, oh, JC, so you've seen it. So they hit this unicorn, and the unicorn perishes, but they're going this place where there's this kind of bad. I did hear it was kind of gory. I didn't watch it yet. I just looked at it, and then they come against the people who. Sorry, not the people, but the friends of the unicorn. Let's just put it there. I don't want to go any further because if you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil anything.
Only
But
Jason has seen it. Yeah,
it looks like a little bit of a horror movie is what I saw, and I almost watched it on the plane. I came very, very close, but Ms. Goo and I were chatting, and so I decided I would not do that. All right, let's talk about this.
Okay.
Have you got any pictures to show?
No, because I tried loading them into the program, and for some reason it wasn't accepting them. So I don't know why that was.
Camera Mandy.
So, okay, but the subject today is epic story moments, and we're going to talk about the moment in chapter 3. So if you have not played chapter 3 or you're interested in playing chapter 3, this is a big spoiler alert moment, so get out. But if you have played chapter 3 or don't mind spoilers or planning on running it and would be interested in talking about it,
I think most know at this point.
Yes.
That's my guess.
So why don't you set the scene?
All right. So when we began this Gooey thing, chapter 3 was actually chapter 1. So some do not know that. So chapter 3 of the Red Star Rising campaign is basically there's a little triumvirate trilogy, whatever you want to call it, of 3 box sets, and the 3 box sets take our Hanata's kids, which is basically what they are, our Hanata's kids, and grow them up a little bit from the beginning of their adventuring careers. So in the beginning, chapter 1 was chapter 3, but because of the epic story moment in chapter 3, some of the team said, I love this, I don't think there's enough time, and I agreed with them. So this was the genesis of really the creation of the trilogy of the Hanatas, right? And so it began with the Darkest Dream, which has a wonderful tale at the beginning about Verasus and all of this stuff. And then it goes as the Hanatas depart from Nevermore. So your first adventure, chapter 1, is all about the carnival, and it's all about the setting the stage for all that is to come for your players. And they get to be security at the carnival. They get to do all of this stuff. And while you're doing that, and we note this, you are beginning to discuss with your players these various individuals in the troupe, building relationship. Look, there's a bird behind me.
Where?
He's hoping right there, right, just flew away.
Oh, that's
I think these birds here get a lot of feeding. I think they get fed a lot because they've been coming around. Anyway, so we begin the tale. You begin to have the players, their characters, make relationships with the people of the troop. And what happens is they do some good things, and some things happen, and some people disappear, and there's a number of stuff that occurs that really begins to build the mystery as you build into chapter 2, when the Hanatas depart Nevermore and head on the road towards Prondadol. And so then there's tales and things that happen on the road as they're going, and then we transition into, so that's the foulest of spirits. They deal with the butchers. There's a whole lot of stuff, and then they move to chapter 3. And chapter 3 is called The Coldest of Blood. And chapter 3 was chapter 1, as I noted. And what happens in chapter 3, of course, at the end, is the troop is massacred. Most of the people of the troop are killed. The children of the troop are captured. And we have gotten many, many emails and communications of this being epic. I mean, epic to the point of some people having tears, epic to the point of really having wonderful emotional impact, which of course is what we're trying for, right? We want to have these intense moments, right? As I say many times, cameraman, when your dad threw the yeah, right, yeah, no goals, no kamikaze goals, but as long as you don't have as long as you have a table that can handle it, right, and take care of them. But immersion, right, requires that we have emotion, right, and emotion is and immersion is what makes the game so much better than most other games on the face of the planet. And so, cameraman, you are engaged in something. I am watching you. You are texting, typing. What is going on? Just tell us. Everyone wants to know.
Okay, here's what happened. So Pam asked me if I'm in Southern California, and as people might know about me, I'm not very geographically literate. So I Googled, where is Southern California?
Camera Mandy. By the gods, Los Angeles is Southern California.
Then
San
yes,
Diego is Southern California. Pretty
I'm
much
Irvine.
Everything south of Bakersfield is Southern California.
I was just like, where? I was like trying to think of the map and like we're on the compass.
You're pretty close to Disneyland, yes?
Yes, yeah. I'm in Irvine, so I'm about 15 minutes away from Disneyland. So
yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Anyway,
and did you get an Airbnb?
So right now I'm at my uncle's house because my uncle lives out here. But
okay. Tell Pete I said hello.
Oh yes, I will. But my mom and dad and Lawrence. By the way, this is interesting. We have 3 Lawrence McNabbs on the trip because they all share the same name. We have the junior, the 3rd, and the 4th. So when I was booking flights, it was Lawrence Patrick McNabb, Lawrence Patrick McNabb, Lawrence Patrick McNabb, and then the rest of us. So it was pretty funny. So me and Adam are in a hotel. But right now I'm currently in my uncle's house. And
anyway,
that's not nearly as interesting as talking about epic story moments. And
we are expecting to get some pictures, so that all of us want to see them. All right.
Yes.
So here's the deal. So if you've done your job right as a game master, you've done some side things. You've had old Strem interact with one of the players. You've had I don't know, Calopia or whomever. Sorry, not Calopia. Calopia is one of the pre-gens. Anyway, the many various Borag, whomever it is. And so they've begun to interact with. You're very distracting, cameraman, and Adam is too. All right.
How's it feel there in Hawaii? Is it nice and warm?
It's rough out here, sir. It's a little rough. I'm in the Blue Shine Archipelago.
Welcome to our vacations, everybody.
So Larry, this is perfect timing. Just stay there. So I want you to hear me now. Okay, so listen now. So what I say about emotional moments and having intensity in the game and the importance of it, I am reminded well, and I've told this story many times, of when your dad took his dice and threw them at me and said, "You're an asshole, dude. You're an asshole."
And you were total.
But it was an epic moment, and everybody was upset, and a terrible thing had happened, and they had tried to stop it and they couldn't stop it, and all kinds of stuff was going on, and it was one of those moments. And the whole damn table was amped up, right, Larry? The table was amped, right?
Oh no, we were hot, dude. We were hot.
And that
Especially
is what
me.
yeah, well, because you got a little temper, you always have. But anyway, so the thing is, here's the thing, and remember this as a game master. Evoking emotion, evoking this concept and this feeling within people of excitement, right? Of fear, right? Of terror, of sadness, right? This is what we are trying for in the game, which is what makes the game so good.
That's why we play.
That's why we play. That's exactly right. Hi, Adam.
Take care, dude.
Bye, guys. So in chapter 3, the party goes into the woods, and we love the tale of in the woods. They find out about the witch. There's just a host of things that we begin to foreshadow for the future, and really build a tale that builds upon itself, right? And so at the end, they come out of the woods, and that's when they find that the troop has been murdered. And as I said, we have gotten so many wonderful emails. So many. My party was blown away. Never had an experience like this at my table. This was amazing. Blah blah blah. And part of that is just understanding for some game masters that you can actually could be part of your thing, right? And so, but to build that epic story moment, the Goo crew was absolutely right when they said it's not enough time, and that's why we put 2 chapters ahead of chapter 3. We put
Absolutely.
2 chapters ahead.
Well, I do think that it's important to take the time and the emotional investment of your players to build up to these things. It can be really hard to not jump right into you get this plot point in your head. But yeah, if you really want them to feel like if you're going to do a character death, if someone's going to die, you want to really feel like they've gotten attached to the character. Otherwise, it's just like
it's a ho-hum moment. Right.
Yeah.
Think about any good. We're talking about movies, right? Think about any good movie where they do good character development. The Mummy is a perfect example of that. Brendan Fraser's character goes through a bit of a transition, right? At the beginning versus just being sort of a money-hungry tomb robber, right? That's pretty much what he was, right? Mm-hmm. To a hero, to becoming a hero. And the hero's journey in that movie and all of that kind of stuff that happens as he transitions, right? And the character gets developed, and you become more and more affinitized. You have greater affinity with the character. That's why great tales characters are so integral to the tales, and that's why you want to take the time as a game master to build relationship and to build this character strength, right, around your player characters, because it just adds so much to the tale. That's why I love about the Blun that we were talking about earlier, because when they go to Blun and they meet Garfonius Grumflum and Professor Necphilius and Malfacina, and they meet Avarice Gaul, right, and the others that they will meet. And by the way, there's some good guys in Blun who are under siege, and they might lose some of those good guys.
I just had the saddest moment ever.
Isn't it the worst? When your coffee is empty. I'd love to hear what the chat thinks about epic moments. I'd love to hear some thoughts on, sort of quips about what you think helps create
They're talking about the Mummy. He wasn't a grave robber at the start. He was a prisoner / ruffian who was a soldier in losing armies. And then Wolfgen, no one starts as a grave robber. And then Harry says,
"That's true. That is true."
Except for necromancers.
But they had to start somewhere too. They were just poor, abused children.
Yeah, there's a book series I've talked about before. It's called The Wandering Inn, and one of their main characters is a necromancer. And I have to say, like, the build of the tension against necromancers, I think could be an interesting spin at a table if you play a necromancer. The whole idea of like, is it ethical to do what you do? I don't know. It's really interesting. So,
as we said, they're just recycling.
Yeah, they had. That's a whole other discussion. Okay. Okay, so you want the players' characters to have depth and drive the tale to epic
Put
heights.
those up. Put those up when you do them, Cameron
Yeah.
Randy. So
Sorry,
we can see
my it's a little awkward. I have to go like all the way up here. Okay, you want the players' characters to have depth and drive the tale to epic heights, their own motivations to drive them to epic events.
I can't underscore this. I want to talk about this for a moment. Then we can do. The
I do
next
not
one,
know. Oh, sorry. The Hatter empty cup. That's funny. But there's another funny one here. I don't know where this came out of. Affinitizer, fizzy drink that makes ice cream get faster.
That needs to go into confuddling concoctions. All right. So, but Harry said is right, and this is really the characters around your players, right? The characters around your players may help make the tale, and they make it more interesting for characters, especially if you can establish sort of little side things going on between one character and an NPC, right? And another player character and an NPC. And you're gonna have these side things going on. And that really helps build more tension and more interest, especially if something happens, right? Oh, yes. Absolutely. That is truly true, right? Fine, because it took a while, right? And it was all about the self-doubt. And really good. Really a great point right there. And
there's a mechanic in Delta Green, I think it's DG, he thinks it is, where you can do a last stand type action that basically kills your character, but you get to be the hero of the moment.
So we actually, Corey, we've only had this happen a couple times in the history of my playing, where I literally had a character suffer. No, it's true, Randy. It's got to be a slow build. Relationships get built over time, just like in real life. They don't just happen; they get built over time. But Mike's is the one. Mike's character Zordrin did sacrifice himself to save the party. They had made a mistake; something bad was about to happen, and Mike took his staff and broke his staff and killed his character. And oh yes, yes, Dragon. You just sit there. But anyway, so Mike did that. And everybody around the table, it was really quiet. And what it did for me as a game master was it bred a whole series where literally I had him roll up another character, and he and I had a side conversation. He was playing another character. Everybody was sad because they really liked Zordrin. And when we played a couple times, but what was happening was at the same time, Zordrin was in the realm of the gods. And there was interactions happening at the realm of the gods about that his time was not yet come and that he was going to have to go back. And so we did a Gandalf thing with Zordrin, and it was really, really cool. But of course, that was a player character who had relationships around the table, right? But an NPC, right? It takes time to build those things. So, yeah.
I have so many comments now. I'm just gonna put them up on screen.
Yeah, just put them up.
So. JC, there's a similar thing in Pulp Cthulhu where you can sacrifice your life for success in a heroic moment. Epic moments, Fifth Element, when Corbin finally finds that he cares for Lilu.
Really good. Really good. I love The Fifth Element. What a great movie.
I haven't seen it in a long time. We should do that one for book or for movie club. Our new movie club.
I mean, there's a lot going on in The Fifth Element, and at first you thought it was kind of when you first watched it, you're thinking, God, this thing could be a B movie, right? And it was not. It was spectacular.
Here's what I'm going to do for this movie club. I will put a poll up in the Gooey Den every week, every 2 weeks or whatever, and they can pick which movie they want to break down on Goo Morning Zyathé. How's that? Every 2 weeks.
I think that sounds great.
It's going to be so much fun. Okay.
All right. Now, at the same time,
this is funny. I didn't even read this before when I put this up.
Yeah, it was the morning of woe.
As the queen of the hats took the chalice in her grasp and going for a draft, but instead she gasped, my coffee decided what to go. That's hilarious, Jen. Sorry. Okay. I have so many good comments here, guys. Let's see here. Jen says Fifth Element is a favorite movie. And
it's definitely one of my higher ups.
Yeah,
I loved it.
I will have that be one of the poll options for the first movie club, the first official movie club, which will happen in 2 weeks.
I love that, Camera Mandy, because I want to, as you know, there's a few things I want to do with Goo Morning that I think will make it fun for people. Yeah, all right, we're Yes. Also, here in the next few weeks, we're going to start talking about the next Contributors Guild submission round.
Ooh, very nice. We
Right,
have got
so
to
we
go.
need-
We are 5 minutes past our time.
Yes. But I just got a couple things I want to make sure everyone knows.
Okay.
So yes, Ms. Goo and I are going to have a little adventure out here. And I said we're going to give away some loot, right, Cameron? Randy, we already talked about that. We're going to do a loot bag. We're going to do some kind of a loot bag for those who can, or for the people who can solve. So we're going to have a little thing going on. It'll happen in the Gooey Den. It'll also, you'll get reprises in the newsletter, and also we'll drop them on the Discord as well. So you'll be able to see the various little things as we figure out what happened to all the pieces of Vaasina. So I think we're going to be seeking out many things. But there's more. There's
While you're talking, anyone else, because like Harry said, A Fish Called Wanda.
Great
Anyone
movie.
else would like a movie to be entered into the movie The Goonies? Yes, The Goonies. So I will put up a poll with all of your guys' stuff, and we can decide which one we want to break down. We'll let everyone vote on which one they want to break down in 2 weeks. So,
all right.
yeah, put those in the chat.
So anyway, keep your eye on stuff if you want to play along. We're gonna have a little bit of a game. Probably it's already begun with the booty of Vaasina, so we'll begin with that. And of course, we're searching for a treasure, the treasure of Bububan. So anyway, we'll figure that out as we go along, my friends. But it's fun to be out here with Ms. Goo on our 40th wedding anniversary and pondering 40 years of marvelousness and the future and all of that stuff. So are you writing down all these different, Mandy, you're writing them all down?
I am literally, that is literally what I'm doing right now.
All right, well, let's let these wonderful people go.
Yeah.
Thank you, my friends, for spending time with us on Saturday. We will do it again next Saturday. I'll get up at 4:00 in the morning again, Camera Mandy, and we will roll. So
I'll be back home though, so
yeah, you'll be back home. You won't have to worry about it.
I'll be a bit more organized. We'll see. I'll also just be off like 5 days at theme park, so I might also just
Well, listen, this was fun. This was fun today. Thank you all very, very much for joining us and being with us. And I'm going to have a little adventure here, cameraman. Yes, it's getting more pretty. It's getting more pretty in the background as we go along.
I don't agree. I like this morning with the rainbow. The rainbow.
Yeah, the rainbow was unbelievable.
Yeah. Okay.
Friends, much love.
Have a great week. Enjoy the weather if it's nice there.
I hope it's nice in most places. Yeah. Unless you live in Australia. I think you're going into winter now. All right, my friends. May all your adventures be sticky. And we'll have an adventure for you here in the Blue Shine Archipelago coming soon. Bye-bye now.